So we are going to be looking into 3D models and the types of models that we have available. And let's quickly just dive into it. Okay, today there's nothing really much to do. So if you look through, we have a number of models. The first model that we have here, we have the GLTF/GLB model. Then another type of model that we have the FBX, we have the OBJ, we have the USDZ, and we have Blender. Yes, Blender is not actually a model, but most times 3D modelers upload the Blender file online. So you download it, then you open it up in Blender, then you export it into any of the file formats of your choice. Okay, so that is why I have them here. So let's quickly look into it. What is GLTF models? GLTF models are lighter shade of models. Okay, they are lighter shade of models. For instance, let me share you a link. I'm going to be sharing into the chat the links to the sites where you can get 3D models. So we have Free 3D, we have Mizamo, then we have Sketchfab. There are a number of them actually. If you just come to Google and you type in 3D models, right? Just if you do that, you're going to see a number of. We have TurboSquid, yes, TurboSquid as well. Yeah, I've downloaded a number of models from this platform. The links to all the sites are actually in the chat. All right, so let's quickly pick up one model and explain what GLTB means. So if you look through, this is free 3D. In free 3D, you can get basically any kind of models you want. Some of them are free and some of them are paid for. Okay, so it depends on the type of model. Okay, so for instance, look at this model, this black wooden model. Yes, this is a table. If you look through it, you see that the file format is Blender. Okay, it's Blender. In case I download this model, it's not going to open as FBX. Neither will it open as OBJ or any other file formats that we've called up earlier on. It's going to open up as Blender. Let's quickly do that. Let me download this. It's just 0.13 megabyte. Okay, it's downloaded. Let me extract it. All right. If you can see the icon, you'll see that the file format is in Blender format, text.blend, okay, with the Blender icon. So if I double click on it, you see Blender is going to open up. There you go. It opens up Blender and I can manipulate this model if I want. Yeah, so I know a number of us might be asking, what is Blender? Blender is actually a software for creating 3D models. Okay, so most of these models you see in here are created using Blender. Okay, created using Blender or Maya. Okay, Blender or Maya. So that is what Blender is, and I think this is actually cool because you can, manipulate your model and make it yours. Right? You can change the color. You can change the color. You can just do anything you want to do with it and make it yours. Right? So this is actually cool. Now, okay, let me use this opportunity to explain another thing. When you're in Blender, right, you want to export this model. If you come at the top left corner of the screen, and you'll see export. If you hover over all the options that we have in here, we have FBX, we have GLTB, we have wavefront, we have X3D. I've never used this extension before, so I don't know what it is. So I basically use OBJ, GLTB, FBX. Okay, yeah, so you can export it into any of these 5 formats. So for instance, right, you can't import a Blender file into Unity. It won't work. Okay, it won't work. But once we import this, once we export this, let's export it into FBX. Then we will choose where we want it to be. Where do I want it to be? Okay, let it be on in my download, and I'll click on exports. So give it some minutes. Most times it wouldn't tell you when it's done, so let's just go through. Okay, there we go. We have our dex.fbx. We are going to call up this dex later on in Unity. Now let's go back to the site again. So we have the Blender file, which we've been able to export. We downloaded it, then opened it up in Blender, then exported it in FBX. Okay. Now, FBX is one of the 5 formats, like I've said earlier on, that you can call up into Unity. Another 5 formats that you can call up into Unity, let's go back, is OBJ. Okay, looking at this model, is OBJ. Okay, so OBJ is one of those files that you can call up into Unity, right? So we can choose to download this file, we can choose not to download it. But again, let's go back to Blender. Right, now, remember we exported this DEX in FBX format. We can also choose to export this DEX in OBJ format. Okay, let's do that as well. Then click on export. Then we go into the file. There you go. We have the dex.fbx. We have dex.obj. Okay, so you see these are different file formats that you can import into Unity. And the coolest thing is that these 2 file formats can be imported into Unity. Now let's go back again. Let's talk about GLTF / GLB files. Okay, you can as well export them. Yeah, we have, if you look through, you have the GLTF 2.0, GLB / GLTF. Okay, let's export that as well. So what is the difference between GLB models, and OBJ and FBX? What is actually the difference between them? The difference between them is that GLB models are lighter models. Okay, they are lighter. So if you, okay, most times it's not really so, but in GLB, right, there is something that is called polygons. When you're creating 3D models, polygons is as a result of the numbers, right? Okay, let me go back to this. So if you look through this, right, you could see that these are lines, right? These lines are called polygon. So the number of lines that you have in a 3D model, this is not complicated. Let me import a more complicated 3D model so that we can try it out. So let me import a more complicated 3D model to explain. Okay, as you can see, this is actually a fish. Okay, it's called a pike fish. Let me take it back. So this is how it actually looks. This fish has an animation features in it. So if you, let's check the number of polygons. If you look through, right, you will see that there are these lines, right? So lines actually, a combination of lines in different shapes actually makes up a 3D model. Okay, and the number of lines that makes up the 3D model determines how detailed that 3D model is. Okay, like, okay, this fish doesn't have much line compared to other 3D models that I will import, right? It doesn't have much line, so as you can see, it's not well detailed. As you can see, it's not well detailed. Look at the fin, right? It's not well detailed, okay? And because it's not well detailed, the number of polygons and the size of this 3D model will not be that huge. Let's import another model. Let's import another model. Should I use LBX? Let me look for something. Okay, let's check out this wolf. Okay, this wolf looks like it's well detailed. Okay, take a look at this. Okay, you can see how it looks like. The polygon is quite much. The polygon is quite much, and if we should check the size of this model and the size of the fish, you'll see that there are two different sizes, right? So the lines actually makes up 3D models and they're called polygon. But we can reduce them, right? So you can reduce the number of polygons so that the size of the 3D model can drastically reduce. Or we can export them into a different file format, like GLTB, like GLZ, okay, for it to be lesser. Now, but you can import GLB models into Unity. For you to do that, you need to use another third-party application in Unity to be able to get that done. Okay, so let's open Unity. Okay, so this was what we did the last time. Let's just delete these two image tag above. And yes. So let's see. I can drag in the OBJ model into Unity. And we get in, as you can see, it's in. Okay, we have the DEX. This is the OBJ model. It will import perfectly well in Unity. We can drag in the FBX model in here, and you see it gets in perfectly well. So we have these two models. One of them is OBJ, the other is FBX. But let's try the GLTB model, which is this. Drag it in. It will get in, but nothing shows, right? Look at it. We can't work with it. We can drag one of these models. Right. Okay. We can drag one of these models. We can drag the other one in here. But you see this other DEX? This is actually the GLTB. It wouldn't import. Okay, it imported actually, but it wouldn't show, it wouldn't work because it's not the ideal file format for Unity. But there is a way that we can actually import this and it's going to work. It's going to show as this is. Okay. Now, remember I said GLB file formats are lighter file formats. Okay. If we have, for example, this DEX is 10 megabyte. In GLB, this DEX will be reduced drastically to 5 megabyte. Okay, or even lesser. All right. But there is another way that we can import this GLB file into Unity. And for us to do that, we use what is called GLTF unit converter. Let me look for it. Okay, yes, sorry, it's called unit GLTF. Okay, this is it. I am going to share the link. It's just 3.14 megabyte. So once you drag this into your asset, as usual, you import everything. Okay. Once you do that, you discover that at the top right here, at the top, you can see my cursor close to components, and also in between components and windows. At the top here, you see the uni GLTF. If you click on it, you see import. All right. To show you that this is actually working, I'm going to do away with these models that we have in here. Let me delete them. Okay. Then let's import. Let's take note of the location of the models. Okay. Let me copy the link. All right. So let's go back to Unity. So come over to Unity GLTF, click on it, click on import to open a folder for you to look for a GLTF file. Okay, as you can see, the file that you can only open in here is GLTL, GLTF, GLB. These are the files you can only open in here. That's Uni GLTF assets. Okay, so let's look for our file. So the moment we open it, you see that because it only recognizes GLT/GLTF, the only file that it recognizes is GLB, and other files are hidden. The FBX, this is the same folder where we have the FBX and the OBJ models. So other files are hidden. So you click on it, open. Once you do, it will create a folder in your assets. Okay, to create a folder in your assets, we can just rename it to Dex and say save. Okay, so if you look through it, this is a mesh. If we look through it, we have the Dex here. Okay, we have the Dex here. It has converted it and it has made it accessible for Unity to work with. All right, and the reason why we have GLTF models is specifically when you want to build web augmented reality or virtual reality application. Like I said earlier on, you can't really use FBX and OBJ models for web because it will take a longer time for it to upload, for it to run, for it to initialize because it's in the web. Okay, but when you use GLTB, it's faster. They are super fast. It's faster. You can just quickly augment that 3D model in your space. Okay, so that is what GLTB and GLTB models are for. Now, when there is another file format called USDZ. Let's see whether I can see them here. USDZ. Let's see whether we can see any of them. Okay, yes, great. So we have a file format called USDZ, right? USDZ as well wouldn't work in Unity, and Unity Converter wouldn't also accept it. But why do we have USDZ file formats? USDZ file formats are also used for the web, specifically for iPhone devices. Now, when you're building web augmented reality or virtual reality product, the iOS device does not recognize GLTB model or GLTF models, FBX models, OBS. It only recognizes USDZ. So whatever model you have, you convert that model into USDZ so that your iPhone devices can make use of. So when you're building for the web, one of the benefits of building for the web is because you don't need to build for iPhone and also build for Android in the case of application, because it's in the web, both devices can have access to it. But for iPhone to be able to augment the 3D model that you have in it has to be in USDZ. I'm going to explain this more when we start working on web augmented reality. Right? You're going to see how we make use of USDZ models and GLTF models in the same web page. Okay. And if you have iPhone devices, you can try it out. If you have Android devices, you can try it out. Okay. So if you have only GLTB model and you are trying it out with an iPhone device, you might have an error or it might not even work. As well as if you have a USDC model and you're trying it with Android, it wouldn't work in Android, but it's going to work in iOS. So you have the two file formats in the same web project you're actually working on. So there's nothing much to talk about the USD file format here until when we start working on web augmented reality. So these are some of the sites where you can download 3D models from. Okay, I download a number of them from free 3D, depending on the model I'm looking for. If you look through anyone you see free, that is written free, that means it's free for download. Okay, like this is a Blender file. If you download this, you're going to open it in Blender and export it to any file format of your choice, which is good. You have this. We have these file formats. We have 3ds, OBJ blend. So if you download, just import already the OBJ file into your Unity project. Then, so basically, so these are some of the files that we can actually make use of. Okay. Now let's download this living room. Let's see what we can actually do with it. Okay. Let's click on this. What to download. Now, because it has 3 different file formats, it's giving you those 3 different files, allowing you to choose which you want. So we have the OBJ, we have the FBX. The OBJ is 0.38 megabytes, the FBX is 0.25 megabyte. Then, of course, this is a zip file that contains a Blender file in it. Okay, so if you download it and export it to any of the file. But let's just download the FBX model. All right, my download is completed. Let's extract it. Oops. Okay, so now we have a file. In the file, we have the FBX. We have interior test.fbx. So let's drag this into Unity. And let's see what we have in here. Let's do it with this text. Remember, I said earlier on, it's also very, very important you ensure that your workspace, especially in your asset, you have a folder for everything. Right? Like this image I have here, I'm supposed to have a folder called assets or icons. Okay. So this Dex is a 3D model. I should drag it into, oh, we don't have a folder for 3D model. Okay, yeah. You should drag it into this 3D model. So you ensure that you clean up your asset space so that you don't have different files, clogged up together. So let's import this interior file. Remember I said there are 2 ways you can import files. You can drag it into asset quickly, or you can just come into asset here and click on import into asset. Okay. Click on that. So of course I'm going to drag it in. All right. So we have that in. So let's drag our interior. So as you can see, this is a house. Okay. This is a house. This is a 3D model of a house that has already been created. If you go in it, you will see that you see the furniture, you see so many things. Okay. So of course this is a 3D model, but if you want to view it as a first-person controller, whereby it looks like you are the one actually viewing it, right? So that is where we need to also do some. We need to import the first-person controller and the third-person controller. So we are going to be doing that later on in the course of this lecture, and we can move around in this 3D model. Okay. All right, so this is a 3D model. You see how it actually works, right? And where you can download them from. Okay. Now, there are some 3D models that have a feature called animation in it, enables you to, those animations can actually they can animate, they can move, they can react. Okay, so let's see how we can import those animated 3D models. Let's go back to Mizamo. Now, Mizamo is another site where you can download 3D models from. Okay, with Mizamo, you can. Okay, let me just quickly walk us through Mizamo. In Mizamo, we have at the top, we have the character and we have the animation. These are the characters. Okay, now what's this? Okay, the character is more like the skin, the person. Then, like this is a character. Then there is no animation applied to this guy. Okay, there's no animation applied to this guy. So let's apply animation to him. To apply animation, you just look for the animation you want. For example, let's pick this guy. Let's spray. The animation will be loaded into the model, and there you go. You see the guy as though he's spraying. Okay, and he stands up, and it repeats the process again. Right? We can. This is to where's that MJ? That Michael Jackson. Okay. You can search the animation you want. You can say dance. I think it's twerking. So no, twerking is not for guys. So let's give him a hip hop dance. All right, so there you go. Let's download this model that has animated features in it. Let's download it. Click download. And I think everything is perfect. You just click download here. And wait for it to download. Wow, the model is about 53.5 megabyte. Well, you see, it's quite heavy. It's heavy because this is a near perfect 3D model. Look at it. The feature, you can see practically how, look at the skin, the texture and everything, okay? It looks real. So the number of polygons is really high. And as a result, increases the size of the 3D model. Now, with also adding also adding the animate third features in it makes it even more huge. So it's downloading quite fast. So let's wait for it to finish. Then let's see how we can add up animations to this model in Unity. Now, because it's animated in Mizamo doesn't mean that if you drag it to Unity, it automatically starts animating. No, it doesn't. All right, good. So let's import this 3D model into Unity. Okay, robots. It's called robots hip hop dance. Drag it in. Okay, so this is the model. Let's create a plane so that you can see. Our directional light is C. Let's change it to white. Okay. So let's drag the model and drop in, and let's increase the size of the model. So if you look through very well, you will see that in Mizamo, we have the texture, we have the gene, we have the top, and it has colors, right? But how come in Unity it doesn't? Yeah, that is because we need to extract, define the texture for the gene, the top, and the skin color are embedded into the 3D model. So we need to extract it. And for us to extract it, now we need to create a folder, a separate folder for this 3D model. You will see the reason why it's very, very important to do. So let's quickly create a folder for it. Let's call it, let's just give it the name of the 3D model. Let's say robot dance. Now let's drag it in. Okay. Now, Once you are in Unity, once you have done this, right, you just click on it. At the top, you have the inspector of this model. At the top, you have rig, you have model, you have animation, and you have material. Okay. Now, let's just do some settings for this 3D model. First and foremost, let's extract the texture. So you click on extract the texture. Now, if you do that, it will open a folder telling you to choose the folder. Now, we already have a folder called Robot Dance folder with the 3D model in it. So just click on it and just give it some minutes. There you go. You can click on fix. There you go. You have the textures, everything appeared on the 3D model. Now, this is the reason why I said it's very important, right, to create a folder for it. Now, it generated all the textures needed, and we have 4 different textures apart from the 3D model. So imagine if you did this in asset here, that means you're just going to be having all manner of textures and images scattered around, okay? And it will just mess up the entire thing. Now, click on the 3D model again, hover over to animation, hover to rig, then on animation type is on generic, scroll down and click on humanoid, then apply. All right. So once you do that, you discover that you've made this animation, this 3D model, the animation that is meant to be in, to behave like a human because this is a humanoid model. Okay. Now let's create the animator controller or animation controller. To do that, right click here, click on create, scroll down and look for animator controller. Right? Of course, you can still give it the name robot dance. Right? Double click on it. Once you do that, the only thing I want us to do, just pay rapt attention. The only thing I want us to do on this 3D model, you have this icon that looks like a play. Okay, click on it, scroll down. Once you scroll down, look for this. You see this, like more like a triangle. You drag it down here. Once you drag it down here, it will connect. Right? Once you drag it down, it automatically connects. Then let's see. Can double click on it and click on loop under length. Just click on loop so that it will repeat the animation. Then loop rules. You click on apply. Now, if you don't click on apply, any settings you do wouldn't be committed, wouldn't make any changes to it. Yet, it's not animating. That is because we need to add this controller that you've created to this. Now, to do that, come over to hierarchy, right? Locate the 3D model, which is the robot dance. Now, if you look through the inspector, you have controller. You have not added the controller. So you drag this controller from here and put it on it. Okay? Put it on it. So once you do, if you click on play, okay, you can see we have our 3D model dancing. Okay, so that is how to add animation to 3D model. Is there any question? Is it complicated? Do you want me to repeat the process? I can actually do that. So any 3D model that have animation, that is how you get it done. The same process, okay? The same, if you want the animation to start playing, it's the same process that has been done here, all right? Whether it's humanoid model or it's animal, okay? The same thing. Let's look for one animal and follow the process. Okay, I have another model in here. Okay, I don't think this is an animated model. this is more like a T-Rex or a dinosaur, something like that. Let's see. Okay, there is no animation in this. So let's delete it. Let's look for another model. Let us stop this. Okay, let me quickly draw something to your attention. Once you click on play in Unity, any changes you do, right, will not take effect. Please put that. Just know that any changes you do in here will not take any effect. For example, if I click on this robot guy, right, this is the position. If should in case you see, I'm bending him, right? While it's in execution mode, it's playing, it will not take any effect. The moment I click on stop, if I play again, it's back to its normal position. So it's very, very important to take that into cognizance, okay? Any change you want to do as a result that you found in here, that's a result of maybe during your execution time and you want to make those changes. For instance, right, all I have to do is to come over to this square icon and copy the changes, right? Let me see. Okay, now come over here, copy the changes, copy it. If you stop it, come over here again and paste the component value, and that is what it is. But let's undo it. Okay. So all right, let's add a dinosaur. Let's see. This two doesn't have. Let's click on it. Let's see. Okay. Let's go to rig and generic. We are not going to say it's humanoid. We are not going to say it's humanoid. Let's see. Let's go back in there again. Let's do legacy. I really don't think this has. Okay. Let's play. Okay, it does. It does. So the difference between stop. The difference between once you click on stop again. Alright. Once you come over to the inspector of the 3D model that has animation, you have the animation type, you have legacy, you have generic, and you have humanoid. Of course, humanoid is just where the name implies for human being, okay? Then legacy. With legacy, you don't need to go through the process of what we did for human, where we had to create a controller, right? With legacy, automatically does that. Then apply that to the 3D model in inspector. So as you can see for the bar one, which is this T-Rex also, the animation top controller has already been added by default. Okay, so here you go. It stopped because let's loop it. Okay, it's because it's not looped. So you click on the 3D model. Let's come to animation. Scroll down. Let's see if we can see the loop option. There is no loop option in here. Okay, there's no loop option in here. But the difference between again, another difference again between the legacy and the humanoid is that the humanoid has more options than the legacy. Okay, with the humanoid, you have the ability to loop, but legacy you can't. All right, so yeah, so that is it. So now you've learned how to add 3D models, download 3D models, and how to animate them. And the place is the site where you can actually get the 3D models from. Another site is Sketchfile. Okay, you can get good 3D models from this site, and some of them you can actually buy them. Okay, like this. Let's see. The beautiful thing with Sketchfab is that you can check out the model you want to download in 3D, right? You see, you can rotate it, you can check it out. Wow, you can actually download this and create a game out of it because this looks cool. So these are the sites where you can download some models from. Yeah, basically. So any question?